Now let's dive into this entire story from the very beginning. A tale that erupted like a wildfire across the social media landscape, where a single fleeting comment split the online world in two, where staying silent became the ultimate weapon, and where one woman's quiet resolve silenced the loudest voices. This is the story of Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, whose private grief was turned into a public spectacle by Joe Rogan in a single moment. But Erika flipped that spectacle on its own terms and ended it her way. But before we get there, let's rewind to the exact instant everything ignited, the podcast episode that set the internet ablaze. First, understand this. Joe Rogan isn't just any podcaster. He's a name millions hang on every word of, dissect, and turn viral in seconds. It was a midweek episode. No special promos, just a long, winding conversation about politics, how people control truth, and the things no one dares say out loud. The talk rolled on, and then suddenly Joe dropped one short sentence. No name mentioned, just a half smile, soft but deliberate, a seemingly harmless remark. I don't think Erika Kirk is completely innocent. That was it. The world exploded. Social media caught fire. People started talking, sharing, editing, and completely losing composure. But hold on, this story runs far deeper. Joe's comment wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a tactic he's honed for years. The calm gaze, the slow breath, the long pause before speaking. That's Joe's weapon. He doesn't need to shout. He plants a seed of doubt in people's minds and lets the world water it. This time, the seed took root. It sprouted legs. It grew claws. Rogan's fans, the self-proclaimed truth seekers, treated his every word like gospel. Overnight, every corner of Twitter and Reddit turned into an investigation chamber. People dug up old clips, froze the funeral footage, analyzed Erika's voice at charity events, even circled her hand gestures like they were decoding a secret cipher. One vague remark became a whirlwind of rumors, and at the eye of the storm stood Erika Kirk. Things spiraled into madness. Some claimed her grief looked too perfect, her speeches too scripted, like she wasn't in pain, but performing. People said she'd been trained to cry on cue, that every tear, every breath was choreographed. No one can control emotions that precisely without practice, they insisted. Then a single frame was clipped, zoomed, slowed down, and someone commented, "She's looking up at the sky like she's acting." The comment went viral. Within 2 minutes, you couldn't scroll any platform without seeing Joe Rogan's half smile under a dramatic caption. He knows this isn't news, this is sports. Every tear Erika shed became evidence. Every pause became a red flag. While Rogan sat comfortably in his studio sipping coffee and racking up millions of views, Erika was being dissected in silence. A photo, a post, a rumor, each torn apart, exaggerated, turned into crowdsourced investigative material. If you've ever seen the internet turn on someone, you know how brutal it can be. 1 minute you're an inspirational role model, the next you're the villain. Erika Kirk, once praised for her composure, her gentle smile under pressure, suddenly became the internet's favorite villain. That same poise, once a symbol of strength, now read as cold detachment. To many, she was too calm to be truly grieving. They accused her of profiting off her husband's loss, turning the tragedy into a publicity stunt. Then they shared the funeral clip. Her words echoed through the crowd's sobs. And now, his mission is my mission. Everything Turning Point USA built through Charlie's vision and hard work. We will make it 10 times bigger with the power of his memory. It was a heartfelt moment, but the internet doesn't let sincerity linger. The clips were slowed, darkened, sliced into hundreds of versions with somber music. Every blink became a hidden message. Every breath became concealed evidence. Funerals were no longer farewells. They were detective movies with Erika as the lead. Even her faith, the last thing she had left, was twisted. They accused her of using it as a shield, mocked her Bible quotes as PR stunts. And in all that noise, Erika chose silence. No statements, no clarifications, no exclusive interviews, no live stream rebuttals, just silence, the loudest sound in the social media universe. Her silence drove people crazier. They couldn't stand the lack of an answer. When one person says nothing, everyone else writes the story for them. That's when the storm hit its peak. In the crowd's eyes, silence was no longer restraint. It was confession. Every second Erika stayed still, someone added a new conspiracy theory. But what the internet fails to grasp is this. Sometimes silence isn't avoidance. It's strategy. It's the only way to reclaim control in a world eager to shred your real feelings. Then, when everything seemed at a tipping point, millions of comments, hundreds of podcasts, thousands of reaction videos boiling over, Erika Kirk finally spoke. No press release, no talk show, no hired lawyer or media expert. She simply posted a 6-minute video so plain it felt almost strange. Title: Enough. No elaborate backdrop, no stage lighting, just her, a camera, and millions holding their breath. And then she spoke. Her voice low, husky, not trembling at all. What I want to say today is simple. Charlie's show will not stop. His voice will live on through us. That was all. A few sentences. But the world stopped. She didn't mention Joe Rogan. No rebuttal, no accusation, no blame, and she didn't need to. Everyone knew who she was addressing. Then she continued, slower this time. Each word measured in breath. The show will go on. This team will keep the flame alive because Charlie is still in each of us. The way she said it, the way her eyes held the camera, it was enough for viewers to understand. Erika Kirk wasn't leaving. She was staying. Not just to carry on her late husband's work, but to reclaim her own story. And now, his mission is my mission. Everything that Turning Point USA built through Charlie's vision and hard work. We will make it 10 times greater through the power of his memory. Each word landed like a needle, stitching back the honor the mob had torn apart. Within minutes, social media reversed course. The hashtag #StandWithErika flooded timelines. Tens of thousands reshared the video, writing things like, "She finally spoke up, and in the most graceful way possible." Candace Owens called it a moment of raw courage. Tucker Carlson reshared the clip. This is what grace looks like amidst media fire. But on the other side, Rogan's loyal crowd refused to back down. They mocked the video, calling it a carefully choreographed performance or an Oscar-worthy act. And so the internet split in two again. But this time, Erika was calling the shots. In minutes, the woman labeled cold, unemotional, exploiting a tragedy had turned the tables. She didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She didn't get defensive. She lit up the room without raising her voice. That was the moment the entire story shifted. For the first time since the incident, Erika was no longer the object of discussion. She was leading it. The words she spoke, few but sufficient, sounded like a new manifesto. Calmness was not weakness, and silence was not surrender. Erika didn't fight back with anger. She fought back with control. Control of her emotions, control of the narrative, and above all, control of what others thought of her. In the hours that followed, the Enough video soared to tens of millions of views. News sites that had been skeptical changed their tune. Editors analyzed her every expression with rare reverence. Erika Kirk, the woman swallowed by the internet, had left the internet speechless. Days later, the social media atmosphere resembled a digital civil war. Timelines were no longer places to share information. They were trenches. One side swore Joe Rogan had crossed a moral line, that he was no longer a host but an instigator of an attack on someone's pain. The other side claimed just as passionately that Erika Kirk was a master of public expression, that she had turned pain into a branding strategy. Both sides spoke of truth, but in reality, no one was seeking it anymore. They were chasing emotion to rage, to speak up, to fight. Every video, every tweet, every new podcast release was a shot in a battle no one was truly winning. Major news outlets were clearly divided. Some publications championed Erika, describing her as a strong woman who stands tall. Others embraced Rogan, calling her social media's new power player. Blogs cashed in, writing purely emotional headlines. Can grief be content? Erika Kirk, from widow to icon talk shows, turned the topic into an industry. They brought in body language experts, public psychologists, even digital ethicists, people who talked endlessly about empathy but really just wanted more views. You could almost hear the clicks of new headlines being written. new thumbnails cut, new scripts prepared to keep milking a woman's pain. Meanwhile, Erika vanished. No new posts, no interviews, no official announcements, no sign. Her last account post was simply a Bible verse. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. The words were a whisper in the world's noisy storm, and then she was truly gone. No one knew where she was, but her absence was the most powerful presence. Her one short sentence spread across the internet like a ghost. No one could ignore it. It hovered in millions of minds. Why are you silent? What are you hiding? Or simply, are you in pain? And so the second storm began. If you think online outrage is about compassion, you're wrong. On the internet, empathy is content. People aren't looking for healing. They're looking for a scene, a tragedy to discuss, a tear to edit, a character to love or hate. Rogan's podcast skyrocketed to millions of views. Erika's Enough video became the most viewed post on X that week. Suddenly, everyone became a critic. Worse, many became commentators. Thousands of reaction videos posted in days. Some crying, some laughing, some mocking, some praying. Each person used Erika's pain to fuel their own content, for views, for fame, for the algorithm. It wasn't grief anymore. It was chaos disguised as compassion. Hosts feigned concern, debating whether Rogan should apologize, all while replaying Erika's tear-stained face between two brand commercials. Psychologists lined up on airwaves, confidently decoding her body language, avoided gazes, repressed gestures, as if they had the right to interpret someone else's sorrow. And they all forgot one thing. Behind the frames was a real person suffering. In the days that followed, it felt like a grand social experiment. Hundreds of writers, commentators, and self-proclaimed experts churned out think pieces and insights with heavy-sounding titles. The story of Charlie Kirk and digital life after he was gone. They tried to sound knowledgeable, convince themselves they'd uncovered truth. But in reality, they were just feeding the same monster, the monster called attention. Every line of text, every video, every emotional analysis podcast only made the monstrous bigger, more aggressive, because it doesn't feed on facts, it feeds on views. Then, as the noise began to die down and people hunted for new topics to argue over, Erika Kirk, the woman swallowed by the crowd, suddenly returned. Not with a media campaign, not with a defense, just a breathless statement. There is no map to grief. There is no roadmap, no linear plan for loss. That was it. But the world burned again. Half the internet swore she was responding to Joe Rogan, the most subtle counterattack ever. The rest said she was aiming at the media, forcing them to examine how they'd turned grief into entertainment. Some called it a goodbye. Others insisted it was a rebirth. A few writers dubbed it the silent revenge of a misunderstood woman. Within hours, #WeStandWithErika was everywhere. It trended for 2 straight days. At times, even Rogan's supporters were taken aback, conceding that perhaps this time, he had met his match. But Joe Rogan didn't respond. No apology, no rebuttal, just silence. And strangely, that silence was loud. That's when I realized Erika Kirk didn't win because she was better, but because she refused to play by his rules. She didn't scream, she didn't get angry, she didn't chase every click. Whenever the internet demanded drama, she answered with silence. Whenever Rogan dropped a hint, she just smiled. And that calm slowly cost him the upper hand. More and more, Rogan's comment sections filled with her name. Fans began mocking his silence. Critics who once praised him now called him a man who talks big but has nothing left to say. Meanwhile, overnight, Erika doubled her followers. The Enough video was still trending. Her 8-word tweet was cited in dozens of articles as a lesson in control and restraint. Erika didn't need to win the argument because she had become the argument. And at this point, the story is no longer about Erika or Rogan. It's about us, the audience, the people behind screens, clapping, judging, raging, pitying, and then forgetting. We turned real human pain into an entertainment plot. We turned natural curiosity into the sharpest weapon of the digital age. Truth no longer matters. Just pick sides. Erika, the face of loss, Rogan, the symbol of doubt, and the rest of us, the crowd feeding the fire with our clicks, And when all the noise dies down, a cold question remains. Who really owns the truth? The one who speaks loudest, or the one patient enough to stay silent and let the world write its own version? Erika chose the latter, and that didn't just help her survive the storm, it made her the one who stopped it. Critics, fans, opportunists all exposed themselves. Some raged, some cried, some just wanted a moment of attention. Meanwhile, Erika took the road less traveled. The less she said, the stronger she became. That's when I understood. Her few words, her forgiveness, they weren't surrender. They were strategy. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Those words weren't an act. They seemed to come from a place beyond anger and hurt. And so I promise you today, every part of our work will become greater. I am tremendously honored to be the new CEO of Turning Point USA. No tears, no resentment, just silence. And in that silence, power. Erika didn't try to dodge Joe Rogan. She starved him of noise, starved him of the chaos he once fed, starved a media system accustomed to living on controversy. She didn't need to scream. She didn't need to hurl anger back. She didn't need to name anyone. She didn't drag anyone down. She didn't cry for mercy. Everything she did was intentional, from the way she stayed silent to the way she appeared at the right moment, said just enough, and retreated. It wasn't reaction. It was a plan. By refusing to step into the storm, Erika made the world spin on itself. And she stood at the center, calm, slow, almost detached. Every pause, every photo, every tiny share became its own headline. Without fighting, she forced others to explain her, defend her, or attack her while she herself did nothing. She turned silence into the purest weapon, a kind of power that social media, noisy, hasty, and buzz-thirsty, can never comprehend. That line, "You can't win when people love to see you fall," isn't a lament. It's a declaration. It's not closure. It's control. Because in that moment, Erika Kirk wasn't just addressing her critics but the entire media machine that had made a spectacle of her pain. She wasn't begging for understanding. She was forcing them to examine themselves. She called them all out, implicitly. Joe Rogan, the tabloids, the podcasters eager to unearth truth, the fans who called themselves guardians of justice. Each of them had once fueled the fire of her loss. But Erika didn't stay silent to hide from them. She stayed silent to redefine them. She didn't shut out the noise. She framed it. She turned ambiguity into a weapon, the mystery around her into armor. Her silence, both when it appeared and when it vanished, was sharper than any response. It made those who shouted loudest stop and listen. Joe Rogan, who built an empire on talking more than anyone else, lost his voice for the first time, not because he was blocked, but because he had nothing left to say. And Erika, the woman who didn't need an empire to stand on, built her own, just by being calm. Then, at the ceremony afterward, she stood on the Turning Point USA stage. Soft light fell on her calm face. Her voice rang out, clear, soft, without emphasis. I promise you today, every part of our work will be greater. I am deeply honored to be the new CEO of Turning Point USA. No tears, no anger, just the power of calm. Erika Kirk didn't defeat Joe Rogan with rage. She defeated him by redefining him, boxing him in with everyone who had ever seen her as a content tool, shrinking his power to what it truly was. Just noise. She turned restraint into rebellion, silence into language, and somehow, without ever raising her voice, made her sound resonate beyond his platform. It was something no one saw coming, the turning point no headline could predict. While others screamed for attention, Erika chose to outlast the noise, and by saying just enough, she had the last word. And perhaps this is the biggest lesson of all. Sometimes power lies not in the voice, but in the to choose when to speak and when to be silent. Erika Kirk didn't need to shout to be heard. She simply stopped, and the world was forced to be silent with her. So, what do you think? Is silence weakness or the most subtle form of power a human can wield? Share your thoughts below. And if you want to keep discovering stories where power, fame, and human emotions collide, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next stories only on BPC Media. EC Media, EC Media.